Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you with another installment of Jewelry with Jen. We are in 2022. Can you even believe it? I cannot, but here we are. Anyway, I thought I would do, I got these really interesting little closed rings. They're just closed. They look sort of like jump rings, but they're not because they're closed and they are acrylic. And I got them and I thought, what am I going to do with these things? So was kind of dickering around trying to figure out what to do. And I thought, well, I'll make a chain. Some kind of a modified kind of faux chainmail. And that is what we're going to do today. We're going to use those and we're going to pair them with some open jump rings. And we're going to make a chain out of it. That'll serve as a link for some other beads that we're going to use to make a necklace. So what I thought I would do, I also have these really neat tagua beads, these tagua nets that in these tagua net buttons from Ecuador. And I thought I'm going to put those together on this necklace. Now, you do not need to use tagua. This is kind of more of a design element than the particular type of beads you need to use. You just need a large size focal bead and these little button beads, or you can use those donut shaped beads. Let me see if I can get up there and let you see that. And then I'm also using some natural wood in an oval shape. And I'm just going to put all of those things together, going to link them together into a chain that ends with a tagua nut focal bead. And I wanted to make it really long because winter is here and I wanted to do something that didn't require a clasp that you could just put over your head and it would hang down to a nice little length on your sweaters or whatever else you'll be wearing to work or out shopping or whatever you're doing, and it would still look really pretty. I know you're all probably tired of me making you make clasps all the time. So I thought I'd give you something that was super simple that you did not have to make a clasp or did not have to use a clasp to get it on and off. So let's get started and let's make our chain and get stylish. So what we need for this is 20 or 22 gauge wire. It's going to be a very simple wrap. You're just going to be taking these beads and making links out of them like this. Yeah, like that. And then you're going to take these nifty little closed rings along with your jump rings, your open jump rings, and we're going to make a chain like this. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to put all of that together and just make a nice little chain that has this beautiful tagua nut as its focal piece. Isn't that neat? I love these. And whoever gets a kit, and if you get a kit, you'll get these taguas, you'll get the closed rings that are in two sizes. I have 6mm and 8mm, and we're going to be putting them together just in a different way. Really, this is a design project. So I just wanted to take these and figure out how to make them different. So I just took these rings, put two of them together, and then linked them with the open jump rings. Very, very simple, but has a pretty look when we're finished. So you're going to need your standards, your round nose pliers, square or chain nose pliers, your cutters. You're going to need 20 or 22 gauge wire, open jump rings. I'm using 8mm because these are big, and you're going to need to be able to link these open jump rings through two of the closed rings, which are kind of thick. So you need to have enough space to link it through those. and your bead link and still have enough space for movement. So you want to make sure it's a decent size. And I also wanted to kind of match up the size of my closed rings. And these are 10. Yeah, these are 10. And these are 8, our open ones that we're using to put everything together. And then we need a selection of beads. I'm using, again, these oval shaped wooden beads and these tag-on-net buttons and 20 or 22 gauge wire. That's it. Wire, beads, tools. Let's get moving. So what I need, first of all, is wire. I'm going to start with our bead link. So I just need enough wire to do a simple wrapped loop. Put these together, make a simple wrapped loop. So the way I determine how much I need is I need a good inch on each side in order to do a couple of wraps. And then, so I'll look at how much space is taken up by my beads by putting it on here. And I really suggest that you give yourself a good inch, inch and a half on each side, so you have plenty to make your loop and to wrap. So there's there are my beads. Yeah, there's at least a good inch and a quarter or so here on each side. So I'll have plenty to wrap with. So I'm just going to slide my beads to the center. I'm going to bend back one end of my wire, just like that. And then I'm going to bend the other side in the other direction. Oops. Get up there. Spin the other side in the opposite direction. If I can get it to cooperate. And my wire is dead soft, so you don't have to worry about it being hard to manipulate, because it isn't. As you can see, very easy to manipulate. So bend, and there we go. So now I've got that. I'm going to do it again with the other one so that you can see a little bit better. And you can also use your pliers to bend it back if you want a sharper bend, but we're going to loop this so you don't really have to worry about that. And I'll show you this again. So I've got it bent back on each side, opposite directions, and we're going to start with the loop on one side. So I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to slide my wire down about a third of the way down my pliers. I just need enough to support my jump ring, which isn't very thick, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm going to bring the tail of my wire over the top of my jump ring, of my pliers, like so. So I've got a partial loop there. Then I'm going to open my pliers and turn them so that they're kind of on top of my beads. So there are my beads hanging down and my pliers are on top. And then I'm going to bring the wire around between the beads and the pliers until I have a full loop. And now I can just wrap the wire around the base of my loop between the pliers and the ring and the beads. And I like to give myself at least 2 wraps, 2.5 wraps, so that it's got a nice appearance and it's perfectly secure. So I've got 2.5 wraps there. And once I get to the end, if I can't do it with my fingers anymore, I will take the pliers and finish it off. And I like to bend my wire, give it a little curve so that it's easier to get it to follow the direction of the loops. So once I get to this point where I just have a little bit left, so I just got a little piece left there, I can just push that down against the other wires. And I like to try to push it underneath the other loops. Nice and snug. As my sister would say, snuggly buggly. There we go. Nothing's sticking out. Nothing's going to come out and scratch me later. And there's one side. So I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. Slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers. Bring the tail over the pliers and around till I can't really go any further because my beads are in the way. And I can't go any further because the pliers are in the way. So I'll open my pliers and turn them. So now I have a space in here that I can work with. And I'm going to bring the wire around until I have a loop. Now, I showed you how to do it holding the loop on the side. Now I'm going to show you how to do it just leaving your pliers in there. My pliers are in the loop. Now all I have to do is wrap under the loop, between the loop, pliers, and the beads. And again, I like to give it at least a couple of wraps. Look at that, there's a cute little cap on top of my bead. And once I get to where I can't go any further, you can either clip this off. I think that's enough, so I'm going to clip it off. Nice and close to my bead. And now this little edge, I can't grab it, so I can't keep it from flying anywhere. So what I like to do is take something with a little hole in the middle, turn that down into it, and clip it off. Oops, I lost it. Clip. Come on, stop it. Oh, no wonder. The flat back needs to be against the wire. It wasn't grabbing. And clip. Now that little thing is down there in the bottom with a bunch of other little pieces of wire that are down there. Okay, that way you can avoid having it fly across the room or, heaven forbid, fly in your face. I had somebody say, oh, I know what you're talking about now because I cut some wire. The wire was facing this way and she said it missed my eye by about 1 inch. So anyway, so now I have this little tiny tail on here that I need to push down. And I like to push it underneath the other wires if I can. And hide it to where it won't do me any damage. So there's my nice wrapped link. I'm just going to straighten this out a little bit. Here we go. Ta-da! There it is. I love the little cap on the top there. That's kind of cute. Okay, let's go on and do the other one because we need 2 of these. So you get another chance to see how it works. Okay, again, I'm going to take my wire. I'm going to show you another way to do it. The first time I did it with the beads on there. Now I'm going to show you how you can do it without the beads on there. So again, give yourself a good inch, 1.25 inches, depending on how much wire you have, but you want to make sure you have at least 1 inch on each side so that you can easily wrap. So I'm going to go to the end here, give myself that inch, bend my wire back, and take my pliers, slide my wire down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers, bring the tail of my wire over my pliers, and down the side of my wire until it can't go any further. It's kind of hanging down the same side as the long edge. Turn my pliers, clamp down again, bring that wire underneath my pliers, and there's my loop. And now I can continue to wrap. And I'm going to hold on because I don't have beads on there to hold it in place. I'm going to hold it on the side and wrap around my wire. Now I find it easier to do it with the beads on, just because I can hold on to the beads and it gives me a little leverage. So what I do is give myself a couple of wraps, and then I stop. And I'll put my beads on so that I can get that leverage that I need in order to complete my wrap. It just gives me something to hold on to. And then I'm going to put my beads on, my wire. Go. And I'm going to bend the other end back. And remember, you want your loops both going the same direction. So I have one, this loop is flat. I want this one to be flat too. The loop is facing my table. So I'm going to bend that back so that when I make my loop, it's facing the same direction as the first one that I made. Okay, slide my wire down 1/3 of the way down my pliers. Bring the wire over the top of the pliers and down the side of my beads. Rotate back with my pliers until they're on the top and my beads are hanging down towards the table. Bring my wire underneath my pliers like so and wrap. And again, you can leave it in the loop or you can take it out of the loop, hold it on the side. It just depends on what works better for you. Give myself a couple of wraps. And this is what I was saying about leverage. Now I can hold on to that in order to complete my wrap. I'm going to use my pliers because I don't have much space left and there's nothing left for me to pull the wire around. So, and then here's a little trick. See how this is sticking straight out on the side here? And I need to push that back against the other wire loops. It's going to be really hard because it's sticking straight out, and it's easier if I take my pliers and make a little half loop in there, just kind of bend it in the direction that I want it to go. So now you can see that this has got a little, it's going in the same direction as the other loops. See if I can make that a little clearer. Yeah, see that little end? It was sticking out like this before. And now I bended it so it's going around in a little curve. So now all I have to do is take my pliers and push it down against the other loops. There we go, nice and smooth. I'm going to go over to the other side and do the same thing. And then take my pliers and clip a little of this off because I don't need it all. Bring out my trusty little well, turn the tail of my wire down into it, cut. Let's see if we can see it happen. Where'd it go? There it is, down there in the bottom. Now I'm going to take my pliers and take this little straight edge, give it a curve. There, now it's curved in towards the other loops. And I can just push that down with my pliers. A little bit more. If you can push it underneath the other loops, even better. And now remember I said that I want my loops to both be going in the same direction. So they are going in the same direction, so I can't show you. Let's try this one. Oh, see, now this one, that one's flat, and this one's going the opposite direction. We want them to both be going the same way. So I'm going to take my pliers on one of my loops because they're so small I can't do it with my fingers. And then I'm going to take my other pliers and grab the other loop, and I'm going to twist it until they're both facing the exact same direction. Isn't that a neat trick? Yay! Okay, so now we've got those done. So let's go on, let's move on. Before we get to our chain, we're gonna do the wrap for our focal bead. And this, what I'm using is just a large center drilled bead. It can be any bead you want. I just happen to have this really neat tag on that. So I think and it's a nut. So the shaping of it is, they're going to be all different. Those of you who get kits, they're all going to be different shapes because they're natural. So what I need is enough to do some kind of decorative finish on my tagua nut for when I make it my little focal bead. I was looking to see if I had one that I did. I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. So what I thought is we would just do this. We would just put a little spiral on the bottom and make a very simple looped veil to hang on our chain. And that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to take our wire. I need enough to make my spiral, and this is about 1.5 inches. This is a big boy. This is a big bead. So I've got about 1.5 inches, and I need another 1.5 inches for my veil, because it's just going to be a simple wrapped loop, just a little bit like these, but just a little bit larger. And then I need enough to do my spiral. So my spiral is going to take a good, I would say 3 inches. I might not need quite that much, but I'm giving myself a good 3 inches. That'll be 4.5 inches. That'll be 5.5, 6 inches. So 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, and 3. So I'm giving myself 6 inches of wire in order to do my tagua nut. So what I'm going to do is make a nice little spiral. So I'm going to take my wire and grab it with the tip of my pliers, the very tip of my wire with the tip of my pliers. And I'm going to make a little loop. Just the tiniest loop possible with my pliers. So there's my little loop. And then I'm going to continue wrapping the wire around itself to make a spiral. So now that I've got my loop and I've got the spiral a little bit started, I'm going to switch to my flat pliers and just start wrapping it around itself. And the way that I do that, there's several ways that you can make this spiral. You can either hold the wire still with one hand. I call this my wire hand. This is my plier hand. So you can either hold your wire hand still and just turn the pliers. You're gripping your wire. Doesn't have to be a tight grip because this is very malleable wire, very soft. And I'm just turning it until I start to see the beginnings of a spiral. The wire is just wrapping around itself to create a spiral. See that? You can either do it that way, or you can hold your plier hand still and use your wire hand to wrap. So I just open my pliers, clamp down, and direct my wire around to wrap the wire. And the third way you can do it is a little bit of both. I can use both my wire hand and my plier hand and wrap both at the same time, like so. Now, you can decide how big you want your spiral to be. But again, you want to leave enough for your bead and for your bail. So I'm going to put this on and see if I have enough. I'm going to make this flat part at the bottom. Oops, come back here. Yes, I'm going to give it a little more because I don't need that much for my bail. And I want my spiral to be just a tiny bit bigger. So I'm just going to keep wrapping, give it a couple more wraps here. Let's check that out. That looks good. So now what I'm going to do, because I don't want my wire to be going up the side of my spiral, this is going to be the bottom of my spiral. So here's the bottom, and my wire is just going across the top. So I want to make this the top, and I want the wire to be going that way. So all I need to do is you can use your pliers or you can use your thumb. Again, this is very soft wire. It will do exactly what you want it to do. And I'm just going to bend, see if I can do it in a way that you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to bend my wire like so. So now the stem is directly above my spiral. Neat, huh? And now let's put my bead on. And this has a front and a back. One side of it is flat, the other side is rounded, and I'm going to make the rounded side my front, just because I want to. Okay, so now I need to make my bail. And again, my bail is just going to be a simple wrapped loop. So what I'm going to do is take my wire, and I'm going to, oh, and you want to make sure that the design on your spiral is showing. So this is going to be on the face, the same direction as the face of your bead. So what I'm going to do is bend my wire back towards the front of my bead. So there's that. And now I'm going to make my bail, and I'm going to do it exactly the way we did our wrapped loops on our link, except bigger. So I'm going to slide my wire all the way to the very back of my pliers so I can get a nice big loop. So I'm going to bring the tail of my wire over the top of my pliers and down the back of my bead. Then I'm going to turn my pliers, clamp down again, and bring that wire between my pliers and the bead until I have a loop. So now I have a nice big loop on top. And I want my loop to be going in the opposite direction as my spiral. My spiral is going left to right. My loop will be going front to back, like so. So then I'm going to grab my loop on the side, just like I did with my others, my smaller ones. And I'm going to wrap the tail of my wire around underneath the loop and on top of the bead until I have a nice closed loop bail. And again, I'm going to have a nice little cap on top of my bead. You see that little spiral cap on top of my bead that kind of matches the spiral on the bottom. And I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to give myself that little curve in my wire, like so. Got a little curve there. Then I'm going to take my flat pliers and I'm going to push that down against the other loops so it won't scratch me or scratch my clothes when I put it on. Here we go. And there we go. There's my nice wrapped bead. Oh, a little glare here. There we go. So there's my spiral, and there's the loop that's going to be housed between my chain. Ta-da! Or on my chain. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is make my little chainmail, my faux chainmail link. So I'm taking these large and small closed jump rings and I'm making this little chain out of them. Just like this. So what I'm going to do is take my open jump rings and use those to attach these rings together. And I went with gold open jump rings to use for the attachment because my closed ones are copper, antique bronze, and silver. And I thought, well, let's get all the metals in there. So, or all the metal colors in there. So I'm using gold jump rings to link everything together. Okay, so there we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take two of my beads, and the way I did this chain was starting with silver and one of the little antique bronze and just put them together like that. So the silver and the little bronze one on top, and then I take my jump rings and I link it all together. First things first, here is the proper way to open a jump ring. You grab your jump ring on the side with your pliers. Here's the opening, and you can take your thumb and just push down until it's open. And then when I get ready to close it, I just twist it back up. If you take your jump ring and pull it apart, you will ruin the natural circle of the ring. And you don't want to do that because it's really hard to get it to go back into circular shape if you do. Here's the second way, another way to open your jump ring. Again, I've got my pliers on one side of the opening, which is right here. Then I'm going to take a second set of pliers, and instead of my thumb, I'm going to use that to twist it open. And again, nice open jump ring. Now for the linkage. So I'm going to take my open jump ring, and I'm going to put my little antique bronze closed ring on it, followed by my large silver one. Now, I'm linking these together. So I start with my small, and I put on my large, and then I'm going to put another large one on backed up against the large one. So it's going to be small, large, large, small. So the next large one that I have on my chain is the antique bunce. So I'm going to slide that on against the other large one and follow that up with a small copper. So there we go. And then I'm going to close it up. Just squeeze that together until it's closed. And I want to make sure it's nice and flush, completely closed. And then here is the start of your chain. See how I have the two large ones together? So when I open it, it looks like this. So the large ones are on the bottom, small ones are on the top. And because I like the look of it and I like the extra security, I'm going to put another open jump ring through all of my closed ones. So I want to go through every single one of my rings. So I'm going to slide it through the first one, the second one, and again, making sure that the small ones are together and the large ones are together. So let's do it this way this time. So small, small, large, and large. Let's get all my rings in there. All my rings are on the open jump ring now. Close it up. The only one that you don't want to string through here is the other open jump ring. That needs to remain free. And there we have it. Here's your first link to your chain. Let's do the next one. So the next one I have on my chain is going to be large copper, small silver. So I'm going to grab another open jump ring, and I'm going to grab these two, small and large, and then I'm going to add the large against the large and the small. Got them all on there. Oops. Close it up. And make sure it's nice and tight. There we go. Then let's go ahead and grab another open jump ring and put it on. So again, I'm going through all four of my closed rings, small and large, small, followed by large, followed by large, followed by small. And the only thing that I don't want to get caught up in there is my other closed jump ring. Why does this look weird? Let's see what's happening. Because I caught my other jump ring in there, my other closed jump ring. That's what you want to avoid. So let's do that again. So there's my open jump ring. I want to go through my closed ones and then back to the other two closed ones and see where the other open jump ring is. It's over here. I don't want to get that caught in there. It needs to stay off to the side. And then close it up. Ooh. Stop it. Yes. These are strong jump rings, which is really good. I don't have to worry about the possibility of one of them opening. Okay, so there is my third set. Ta-da! Neat, huh? And let's do one more. So we're going back to what we did on this end, which is silver, large silver, small copper. Yeah. Grab another couple of jump rings here. Let's slide on my small one and my large one, backed up by my large one and my small one. And close my jump ring. And do the same thing with my second open jump ring. Let's go through all of my little beads. My hands are in the way. I want you to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go through the small one and the large one and the large one and the small one. And notice how I'm holding this other one out of the way, this other open jump ring out of the way, because I don't want that to go through that one. And all my little manipulations, I dropped it. Let's do that again. Let's hold on to my other open one so I can't accidentally catch it in there. Okay, let's go small to large. Ugh, come on, cooperate with me. Small to large. And large to small. Now, you don't have to use pliers to do this. I do it this way because I know if I try to use my fingers, you can't see what I'm doing. So for me, this is the best way to show you. So here's my other open jump ring over here off on the side, nowhere near the second open jump ring because I don't want to get them tangled up. All of my closed rings are on there, and now I can just close up my open one. Nice and tight. And when you finish, you can go back and make sure all of your jump rings are nicely closed the way you want them. So let's get that closed up. Nice and neat. There we go. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is my chain link. So we just made a chain. Isn't that great? Okay, so now we're going to put it all together. We're going to put it on your bead link and put everything together. So the way I linked these beads is I used 2 of the open jump rings, 1 of the closed rings in the copper, and on either end to link them together like so. So let's grab one of our open jump rings, and I'm going to put my bead link on one of my beads, my closed jump ring, or my closed ring. They call them jump rings, but I always thought of jump rings as being something that's open, but these are closed and there are closed jump rings. So, and now we're going to add a second one. Well, we'll close this up first. Let's close that up. And let's add our second one. And again, I do not want my open jump rings to be linked together. So I'm going to slide my open jump ring through the bead loop, and then down through my closed ring. Oh, come on. I am fumble fingers today. Or vice versa. You can go through the ring first and then through your bead loop. And close it up. There you go. Now we're going to put the other one on the other side. So grab another open jump ring, slide it on my bead link, slide that on my closed jump ring. Don't do anything with those other open ones. I'm just putting it on my closed one. Close it up. Make sure it's nice and snug. And let's grab another open jump ring, slide it on my link or my loop. It doesn't matter which way you do it, as long as you get them on there and don't catch up your other open jump ring. Close it up. I know I keep repeating that, but it's so easy to do if you're not paying attention. And then it won't hang right. There's our little link. Neat, huh? I like it. So now we need to put these together. And we're just going to repeat what we did with our open jump rings. We're just going to put 2 open jump rings on our bead loop and through the last 2 rings of our chain. Okay, so string it through the bead loop and through one of the large loops, the large loop on the end and the small loop on the end, and close. Make sure it's nice and tight. Would you look at that? So easy. Why is this thing going in and out? I just noticed. I hope it wasn't doing that before. Let's go with our other jump ring. Following the same design as before. Slide it through my bead loop and then over to my closed links. Make sure that this one is out of the way. My other open jump ring. Close my jump ring up. There we go. And then that's the link to my chain. And now you want to link that to my other beads. So again, open jump ring, thread it through the last 2 closed rings on my chain and back through the other bead loop and close. There we go. Nice and tight, and closed. And then I'm going to take our other jump rings, slide it through my 2 closed rings and back through my bead loop and close. Nice and tight. And here we have it. Isn't this the neatest chain? I love it. What do you think? Now all we need is our focal piece. This chain is so long, I can't even get the whole thing on camera. My goodness. There we go. Now all we need is our focal. Go that way. Yes, very nice. Okay, let's put it together. So what we're gonna do, let me see if I can do it with my fingers and if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna take my jump ring, attach it to my focal piece, like so. Let me get over here a little further under the camera. Attach it to my bead link. Other end attached to my focal bead. At the bail and close. See how easy it is to manipulate this with your fingers? You can use your pliers if your fingers aren't very strong, or you've been working with these rings enough that they're starting to work harden, which they will do so that they'll be nice and secure. And then we're going to put the other one on the other side. Turn this so it's going the right way. There we go. Attach this one to the other side. So I'm just going to slide that in my little loop of my bail and then through the loop of my beads and close it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our piece. See if I can get the whole thing on camera without making you dizzy when I move this up. No, it's too long. It's so long. I need to put it on a display so that you can see it. But isn't that neat that I think that's so pretty. And it's colorful. I have all different color tagua of these tagua beads. So you'll be getting different colors. Well, you'll get one color. And I've got different colored tagua nuts also. Ta-da. A whole box of them. Look at that. Isn't that neat? So you people that get kids, lucky, lucky, lucky. Okay, I'm going to put this on a little form so that you can see it, and I'll put it up in the other camera so that you. There it is. There's our piece. There's our nice little chain that we created from just closed and open jump rings. That's it. I love it. I love when you make your own everything. I mean, you can buy a chain, but why buy a chain when you can make one? And this is exceptionally pretty. Nice and colorful. And it's really long too. This isn't the half of it. It goes all the way down the back, but I couldn't get it to show on the display with all of its glory, in all its glory, because it was just too long. Oh, and I wanted to make a correction to my instructions. Remember I said that your bail, the opening to your bail should be opposite of the opening of the design of your spiral. That's incorrect. The bail should be going in the same direction as your spiral. So your spiral is going side to side, and the opening of your bail should also be going side to side, so that when you link it with your chain, the chain is going front, the chain loops are going front to back. So side to side on your spiral, side to side on your bail, and you're good. And it's easily correctable if you've been following right along and you did them opposite directions. Remember, I showed you how you just take the pliers. Let's see if I can show you. Remember, I told you how you can just take the pliers and twist. I'm going to show you on this one. So here is my bail loop. And it's going, right now you can't see the spiral because it's going in the opposite direction. So there's my spiral facing you. And there's my bail loop coming back towards me. I want them both to be going in the same direction. So I'm just going to grab each end, one with my finger, one with my pliers, or with 2 pairs of pliers. I'm going to twist until they're both going the same direction. So now you can see the spiral and the opening to my bead loop, both going the same way. So you just twist it. Very malleable wire. It will do what you tell it to do. And they're both going the right direction. Okay, sorry about that little hiccup. That is our piece for the day. I'll tell you, this chain is so pretty that you don't even really need anything on it. You can just wear the chain alone, I think, and it would be gorgeous. I mean, look at that. That's beautiful. So if you wanted to kind of wear it the way I have it on this guy, you can do half and half. You could have this down the front and wear the chain down the back of your outfit. Business in the front, party in the back. So you could do it both ways. You could have some of the chain hanging down the back just for design, and then you can have your filco in the front. Just a thought. Anyway, that's it for our program today. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll try this. You can even do this. You don't have to go out and find some closed jump rings to do it. You can use any jump rings. It's just a modified chainmail. And we'll be doing more things like that just because I want to try some different things for 2022. So happy belated New Year. I hope you'll come back and I hope you enjoyed this and I hope you'll let me know what you think and what you thought, good or bad. If you have any questions, don't forget jewelrygen2020@gmail.com. I welcome your questions. I will be happy to answer them if I can. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your week, your weekend, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.